Give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach this day, the 5th chapter of John and the 39th verse. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If enough children, no noise, no talking, be quiet. I'm coming in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that come from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There is one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. For had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? Does any of y'all know why we start with this particular 7 verses every single time? Does anybody know the reason why we do that? Why do we do that, Stanley?
Because he's the word made flesh and who is talking about. And, getting esteem from men is something that, is abomination to Yahuah. So we want to get esteem from other hands.
I mean, that close to it. We'll say he would have thought if somebody said what verse would I go to, it would have been the verse 39. But that's what you mentioned. That second part is not why we do it. The first part, to a certain extent, that's why we read it. Darius, you know why we read this here? The reason why we start with this here, that's just for anybody who see it to know that this is the foundation of what we believe. And that's it. The foundation of what we believe is contained in that right there.
The verse you just read,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, I wanted that.
Yeah, that's the foundation of what we believe. Yeah, I come in the volume of the book, but yeah, this is the foundation of what we believe. So that's why we start with John 5:39, not just with the search the scripture part, but that if you believe the law, then you should believe him, meaning you believe the whole word. You know what I'm saying? So this is the foundation of what I say. Your first part was correct, just not how I would have worded it, but that's the correct answer. You know what I'm saying? Second part, that's just in there. You know what I mean?
I got it.
That nigga, that's stupid. Numbers 32. Well, thank y'all for the word. Numbers 32 and verse 1, I surmise. Now the children of Reuben and the children of Gad had a very great multitude of cattle. And when they saw the land Yazir and the land Gilead, that behold, that place was a place for cattle. The children of Gad and the children of Reuben came and spake unto Moses and the Eleazar all the priests, and unto the princes of the congregation, saying, Adaroth, Dibon, Yazir, Nimrah, Heshbon, Elah, Shebam, Nebo, and Beon. Even the country which Yahuah smote before the congregation of Yashar'al is a land for cattle, and thy servants have cattle. Wherefore they said, if we found grace in our sight, let this land be given unto thy servants for a possession, and bring us not over Jordan. Now, I'm going to get to the continuing parts that are mentioned in this here. But do you see how he said that they were asking for a particular land? And you see what he said that land was for? What are you usually going to have a land for cattle for? Grazing, but what else they going to be doing now? They'll be taking a little lead, taking a little bit of rest. This is where they're going to dwell at, right? So I want you to look at this word for smote. It's nakah. It means to strike. It means to slay. It means to kill. Yeah, slaughter is susceptible. Definitely it's a slaughter when you smoke them down, wound, and all that. You got noon, cough, and hate. So when we looking at this one here, we're just going to see that the man with raised arms is going to tame or subdue with the unstoppable motion. This is basically just continuing on from what we kind of hit last night. When this man come through to smite the land before him, nothing is going to stop him. Do you know what I'm saying? Nothing is going to stop him. Let's take ourselves to Zechariah chapter 14. Because we have to remember one key thing. If we're looking at tabernacles and we're looking at inheritance, and we're going to look at the word for tabernacle. Does anybody know the word for tabernacles in Leviticus 23? You know what the word is? And what does that word mean? Sukkah, what does that word mean? It's a temporary dwelling place. That's all it is, temporary dwelling place. Because we're going to get to that too. Just in case anybody wasn't aware with a certain piece of information. But what's that? Zechariah 14. and 1. Behold, the day of Yahuah come, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the house rifled, and the women ravished. Half of the city shall go forth into captivity. The residue of the people shall not be cut off from that city. Then Yahuah shall go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. Does anybody know what day of battle? I think I asked y'all this not too long ago. Anybody know what day of battle that is he referring to? Nah, he said he gonna fight the nations as he fought them in the day of battle. So he is referring to another fight, another war. You can use several different ones, but he ain't talking about Egypt, I can tell you that. Well, we're gonna look at it this here, right? Anybody know any of the name of the kings that rose up against us when we was in the wilderness? Og and Bashan, King of Sion, all them niggas, right? And what did we not go to war with them? So when he's looking at rising up to fight for us in the day of battle, he's pointing to how we rose up and he fought for us to subdue these nations so we could inherit the land. And that's why he's mentioning it here. Because he said he's going to rise up against these nations and slay them so we can inherit the land again. Because he's what did he say in the let's go to Ecclesiastes real quick. Huh? He didn't go to war with Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar got disposed by the Persians. No, when he say as in the day of battle, you're looking at the context, because I can see how that could be abstract, but looking at the context of what he's discussing in Zechariah, he's pointing you back to what he did when we came in the wilderness. So when he say that I'm going to stand up against these nations and fight for them to take back the Jerusalem specifically, or the land, he's trying to draw us back into remembrance how he rose up to fight for us against those 5 nations that were mightier and greater than us, and that we subdued them and took over the land. And the key, yeah, but see, that's before us. So we wouldn't, and it wouldn't be wrong, but we wouldn't be able as a people to hearken back to that, because that didn't pertain to us. But before we came a nation, you know what I'm saying? But in the scheme, see the part to point that out was reading the Numbers 32 when he say, I smote them before the congregation so you could take this land. You know what I'm saying? And then him mentioning the lands that we took. And those were the lands of the people that were greater than us, who was actually coming out to war against us. The closest thing you could choose outside of that, even though we didn't go to war with them then, was the 10 kings that tried to rise up against Yahushua, son of Nun. But we ended up slaying them. We ain't even fight. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say you could say it, but we ain't even fight. What I say? Ecclesiastes? Yeah, I think it what? Chapter 2. Now, I didn't want to make sure y'all understood that. I could see how that could be abstract. I think we talked about it not too long ago. Make sure I got my spot. I just don't want to tell y'all what to say. We just want to read it. Dang, I can't even remember what a verse is. But basically, you know what it is. Ain't nothing new what? So if he did it, and what did we just read last night? Yahushua HaMashiach is what? Yesterday, today, and forever. What's every Hebrew love to quote in Malachi? I am Yah, I what? He gonna do the same exact thing all over again. He ain't finna do nothing different. You know what? What did he made a promise, right? He said that in this day, they will no longer be able to say that this is Yahuah that brought the children of Yashar'al up out of Mizraim. He let it be known because these people know what he did. So he got to show them again that why you thinking in Revelation all the plagues the same? You know what I'm saying? If you look at how he going about doing it, the pattern is the same. Ain't nothing changing. Because they going to know. Don't play with me. They going to know. Don't play with me. And he coming back to slaughter all of his enemies. We just read it last night, right? He reserved wrath for his enemies and salvation for his people. Come on back to well, let's take a look at some of these things here about this man coming back for a little bit of war. I want you to look at Daniel chapter 8. We want to look at, I ain't ashamed right now to look at a little bit of war. Because what he told you, it's a time for war and it's what? Time for peace. So sometimes you got to look at a little bit of war. What are y'all children back there doing? Oh, you can't go on that trip, Henry Jones. Little J Bird. You can't go on that trip, J Bird. Go over there with your Yama. She'll give you some comfort. Hey, grab him. Grab him, because he's going to try to go out the door. Daniel 8 and 15, I surmise. Daniel 8 and 15. And it came to...
Mark, come here.
And it came to pass when I, Daniel, it said, and it came to pass when even I, Daniel, hey, y'all got to calm that down. Because I don't hear nothing but children. I don't hear no adults, so I know that's y'all. You need to be quiet and respect the word of Yahuah and close your mouth. You had plenty of time to play. And it came to pass when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. Now as he was speaking with me, I was in deep sleep, on my face towards the ground. But he touched me and set me upright. He said, behold, I will make thee known what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at that time appointed the end shall be. The ram which thou saw, we'll skip because I'm not reading all that. We'll be dealing with something whole totally different. Verse 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sickness shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper in practice, and shall destroy the mighty and Kadesh people. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. He shall magnify himself in his heart, and by shalom shall destroy many. And he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, and he shall be broken without hand. So now we're talking about looking at a period of this man coming through to subdue someone. Because remember, when we looking at striking and slaying and killing, it's dealing with the man with raised arms is coming to subdue with an unstoppable force. Something that no one can hinder and stop. Now let's look at Revelation 17, just on the strength. (17 and 10). We kind of read it last night when we read Isaiah 11 and a few other spots, so we're not going to go through this ad nauseum, but we do need to look at it and see how he's going to subdue the land before you. Ain't that only right he subdued the land before you? Only right. Did you subdue the land? And the only difference with this war is you ain't got to actively fight. You know, we participated in the first battle. He going to send troops on this one. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he come, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the eighth, and as of the seven go into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou saw are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb. The Lamb shall overcome them, for he is master of masters and king of kings. For they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. He saith unto me, the waters which thou saw where the whore sit are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. Who do people tell you the whore of Babylon is?
Roman Catholic Church.
And why they tell you it's the Roman Catholic Church?
People say that they color.
They say that because of the color. They say because it's sitting on mountains. But what it just told you where it see that this woman sit at? On people. So this ain't got nothing to do with no Rome. I didn't want you to know that there. The Roman Catholic Church don't mean nothing about nothing when it comes to this word. And if you think that, you might want to re-examine the word. You know what I'm saying? Because what factor do they play? What factor does Rome play in the text? Where did he tell you anything about Rome in the text?
Some people argue that Jerusalem 70 AD, the Romans came in.
I mean, that's neither here nor there because Ezekiel told you he was going to destroy that. So that ain't got nothing to do with them. That could have been anybody. You know what I'm saying? It was only two nationalities of people that he ever stated that was going to come through and get him. And that was the Assyrians and the Babylonians. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's it. You know what I'm talking about? Then you got to realize that we've been exiled and under rule and authority over almost every nationality of people that was in that area at that time when we dwelt there. You was under captivity from Moab, Ammon, the Philistines. You know what I'm saying? See, we don't focus on though. All you got to do, go look in the book of Judges. Talk about all of that. You know what I'm saying? We weren't just under captivity of Babylon and Assyria. We've been in captivity numerous times. But Rome ain't got nothing to do with nothing. What is Rome actually doing? What is the Catholic Church actually doing? How does the Catholic Church affect true Jews? They don't. Who go to Catholic Church? White people. A lot of them ain't our people. But they didn't change anything because every nationality of people already had their own calendar. Babylon had their own calendar. Assyria got their own calendar. Every season, y'all watch the NBA and they got what? Chinese New Year games and Chinese New Year jerseys and sneakers. So them changing the calendar ain't nothing. You live in a Roman society or a Judeo-Christian society with Roman principles. So of course you're going to have a Roman calendar. If you lived in the Middle East and in Iran or Iraq, you're going to be under a Babylonian calendar because that's a different culture and society. If you lived in the Far East, in Asia and Japan, you're going to be under their calendar. They got their own calendar. They don't follow no Roman calendar in Japan. They use both, but their time is dictated by something else. See, that's what the world like to make us believe, that the whole world just do what America do. And that's not the case.
Yeah, because you got the group saying Esau's the white man, and then they go to the Roman Catholic Church ruling everything, thinking that's their enemy.
But what does the Roman Catholic Church actually rule? They ain't doing nothing but molesting little boys.
Yeah, that's the doctrine of Christianity.
They ain't touching no little girl. They don't want no girl. They want men.
No, they molested little girls. One priest molested the whole family of little girls.
Yeah, then you gotta say with Constantine, people think he changed the Sabbath day.
But he didn't change anything. All he said is he had a dream would say, with this cross, you'll conquer the earth. And people ran with that. And they go to talking about the Council of Nicaea and all this here. But we talking about, and quote unquote, 2018. What the Roman Church run? Who really listened to the Pope? But now we talk about true Yahudim. Who, anybody who claimed to be an Israelite, who is influenced by the Pope? Who's influenced by the Roman Catholic Church? What level of influence would they have? None. They mean absolutely nothing. And you know what that is? That's what they call a red herring. You know what a red herring is? Anybody here know what a red herring is?
Someone tried to throw you off.
That's something to try to throw you off. It's a banana in the tailpipe. A red herring is a term that con men use. You know what I'm saying? It in the tailpipe. You ain't never heard somebody say don't go for the banana in the tailpipe? Yeah, going for the banana in the tailpipe mean you don't let a nigga dupe you. You ever seen Swordfish? Remember what he told him? Misdirection, Stanley. Misdirection. Because the mind believe what the eyes see, even if what the eyes see ain't real. You know what I'm talking about? The mind believe what the eyes see. So if I can create an illusion of reality, you'll believe it. Even if it ain't reality. Why you think niggas out here living a fantasy life through the stuff they see on television? They ain't living in reality. They think that's reality. That ain't real. I mean, at the end of the day, the Zionist people ain't even nobody to worry about. They ain't really no factor. Not when it comes to the text. Because when it go down, it's going to be somebody of color. Ain't no black people finna follow no white man when it comes to this book. When the book talking about him deceiving the very elect. You know what I'm saying? This one we got to stop going with Christian theology and teaching and merging it with the word and go for what the word say. Cause ain't no black people who found out they know brew in Africa in the ghettos of America finna follow behind no hook nose what they call them people? Where they from? Khazarian. Khazar. They ain't going for that. They ain't going for that. Ain't nobody going for that. You know what I'm saying? That is again, my friend, misdirection. I got you looking over here while I'm running the game over here. So when the game get ran, you gonna fall for it. That's why I asked some of y'all that about discernment, because yeah, that ain't no bad thing to have, because discernment gonna be a lot greater than discerning an old silly nigga in your face. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna need the discernment to be able to discern situations. Is this is of Yah or not? You know what I'm saying? Because you can run across somebody like you mentioned. You can run across talking about, oh yeah, he ain't right, she ain't right. But can you stand into the situation and discern that's not Yahuah? He ain't got nothing to do with that. The only way you'll be able to have that ability to do that is the word has to be inside of you. You have to know it. You have to be. I told him that you got to be obsessed with it. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be successful with this word if you're not obsessed with it. Do you know what I'm saying? That you eat it, breathe it, sleep it, defecate it. Do you know what I'm saying? You have to be obsessed with it. That's the only way you're going to be successful. That's how you get something and you take over your whole mind, heart, and soul because you're obsessed with it. Not just platitudes. You know what I'm saying? Throwing out key phrases. Because I've been around a lot of people who throw key phrases and I can look them in the windows of their soul and know they're full of crap. And I'm going to just let you keep on being full of crap. I ain't got to point it out. Eventually your actions will show and your actions will point it out. You know what I'm saying? Period. Because discernment is about knowing the word. Like we talked about last night, when that word come, that word show the thoughts and intents of the heart. You ain't got to say nothing. One thing about it, you ain't got to expose nobody. Y'all expose you in due time. Truth be told, niggas exposing themselves every day. You ain't got to do nothing. Verse 16, I believe. And the 10 horns which sat upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make it desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn it with fire. For Elohim hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, to agree, and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Elohim should be fulfilled. Now let me ask you this question here. Where is Babylon? Babylon ain't in the land. So we know full well, can't be Rome, because Rome ain't nowhere over there. He tell you, like you got to remember, exactly where he say these places are at, that's exactly where they at. It's not metaphoric for America. You know what I'm saying? It's not metaphoric for Rome. He said Babylon, he meant Babylon.
Hey, I always had a question with Satan throne in Turkey. It says in Revelation 2.
Yeah, he said, you know where the seat of Satan is.
Like, that's where he's sitting at now?
Yeah. Sit right there in Turkey. That's where it's at. That's what he said.
Is that Europe?
No, Turkey in the Middle East. Turkey right near Iraq and Iran and Lebanon.
Is it the same turkey though?
Same Turkey. Yeah, I know he's trying to be funny. You trying to be funny? No, the same country. You got to remember. Oh, the reason why it's the same, the reason why you remember right, because when he mentioned that, that's in the 7 synagogues of Asia he's speaking to in Asia Minor, so it's the same area.
That makes sense.
Ain't nothing changed.
I remember you said something about that back in the day.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what
And always remember that. Exactly where he say it's at, that way it's going down at. How is it going to be going down in Rome and he said he going to gather everybody to battle where? And where that's at? That's in the land. So that means they would have to be posted up in these areas. Come on, man. And you think how many brews you know gonna be standing up talking about a white man say he God and they gonna jump on that? Ain't nobody following that Pope in Rome, not no black person. Only black people following that Pope in Rome is anybody who in the Caribbean, because it's a lot of Roman Catholics in the Caribbean. I mean, it's that same difference. That's who run it. Who run it? Come on back to Revelation 19. And after that, the Epistle of Jude. Well, we don't need the Epistle of Jude. Because we done talked about this before, man. That discernment going to come through when these people start bringing fire out the sky and working signs and miracles. Is you going to fall for that? When this man die and resurrect from the dead, is you going to fall for that? Or you going to remember what the text say and say, remember what the Mashiach say, I told you before. So he don't want to hear nothing. Well, I had forgot. And he going to forget you. It's always going down over there. What's going down in Rome? Nothing. You know why niggas point out Rome? Because Rome, London, and D.C. are the only city-states in the whole world. Rome is the religion. London is the bank. America, D.C., that's the army. Sit your stupid butt down. Nigga don't watch too many NWO DVDs. You know what I'm saying? This book don't talk nothing about no New World Order, man. None of that. You know what the difference is? You know what the New World Order is? The will of man. Screw what the will of man is. Yah said his mystery gonna be completed. What does his mystery say? Yeah, his mystery say one man gonna rule over the whole world, but not like how these people talking about. Like it's in that fashion, but he don't call it no New World Order. Why he don't call it no New World Order? Because one man has ruled the earth numerous times. Pharaoh ruled the whole earth at that time. Nebuchadnezzar ruled the whole earth at that time. All the beasts coming to do is the same thing Nebuchadnezzar did. Ain't nothing new under the sun. They ain't doing nothing new. So people who know the word, what you scared by the NWO for? What you worried about? They're going to put us in concentration camps. So what, nigga? You scared? You know what I'm saying? If you're going to do this here, man, you got to strap your boots on, leave your thongs at the house, man. Got to. Revelation 19 and 11. You gotta be a man dealing with the word. You can't be no sucker, can't be no buster, can't be no lame, can't be no coward. And I saw Shamahim open, and behold, a white horse. He that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war. His eyes were a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. And his name is called the Word of Elohim. And the armies which were in Shamahim followed him upon horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And we know what happened. What happened, Stanley? Sword come out of his mouth, right? He go to slaying everybody. Dead bodies everywhere. Why? Because I have to, and he said he smote them before the congregation. I want you to come over here to Isaiah 65. Because I want you to know that you're going to see it. After Isaiah 65, Zephaniah chapter 3. After Zephaniah chapter 3, 2 Thessalonians chapter 1. (65 and 22) of the book of Isaiah. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For the days of a tree are the days of my people. My elect shall enjoy the work of their hands. They shall not labor in vain nor bring forth trouble, for they are the seed of the Baruch of Yahuah, and their offspring with them. And it shall come to pass before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. So what does that come into? It comes into this Zephaniah 3. Pick it up at verse 17. He said, while you calling, he gonna answer. Zephaniah 3 and 17. Yahuah thy Elohim in the midst of thee is mighty. He will save. He will rejoice over thee with joy. He will rest in his love. He will joy over thee with singing. I will gather them that are sorrowful for the solemn assembly. What solemn assembly is that? That's tabernacles. You need to remember that from your, again, we bringing this stuff to your remembrance because you should know this, because you should know your law. So when you see this stuff, you know exactly what he is talking about. You know what I'm saying? We should know what this man is talking about. When we know what this man is talking about, guess what allows to happen? Your faith actually can be strengthened and increased because you know what did the Mashiach tell his apostles? He said, I don't call you what? He said, I call you what? Why did he say he called them friends? And he's saying, what he said after that? He said, because everything that I do, I show you. So that means you know exactly what's going on. You're not confused. You're not in the dark. I'm not hiding anything from you. Like it said in Proverbs 8, I'm using great plainness of speech, and it's plain to those who have understanding. So when I tell you this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you need to know exactly what he's talking about. When you know exactly what he's talking about, then you can wait for it. He said, I will gather them that are sorrowful for the solemn assembly who are of thee, to whom the reproach of it was a burden. Why are they sorrowful? Because you're being afflicted. What did we read last night? If it were possible, he would deceive the very elect. And if it wasn't for the elect, then no flesh would be what? Everybody would die. What did we just read in Zechariah? The land going to be ravished? Your women going to be ravished? You don't think you're going to be sorrowful for that? If you're not, it say a lot about you. That's what we were talking about the other night. Well, I told you, man, you're going to see your people getting killed. Man, I used to tell my homeboy that when we first started dealing with the word, I'd rather be dead than watch that. I don't want to see that, especially if I can't do nothing about it, because I'm going to kill me a few niggas. You think I'm finna sit there and watch them kill my people and clap and sing about it? And I ain't talking about no men either. I'm talking about women and children who can't defend themselves. I ain't talking about no grown man. I'm talking about women and children who can't defend themselves. I told you this before. Boy, how you can say you a man and you ain't down to protect the women of your people and your children? Like these niggas be posting video of the police tossing black women around. They post a Mardi Gras them niggas, man. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nowhere in the world no whole bunch of black men sitting around videotaping no police jumping on no woman. You know what I'm saying? You sitting there watching. That ain't right. We all going to jail tonight or we dying. Because Buddy got to catch these hands. No, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. Hey, man, you good? You just took a little tumble. Verse 19. Behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee, and I will save her that halt, and gather her that was driven out. And I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame. And at that time will I bring you again, even in the time that I gather you, and I will make you a name and a praise among all the people of the earth, when I turn back your captivity before your eyes. So this is why he sit back and say, when you call, I'm going to answer. Because you're going to see. Now, how else you going to see him turn back your exile unless you over there? We already read that last night. They're going to be in the wilderness over there, right? You're already going to be over there. All us ain't getting to the wilderness. I just want y'all to know that. Because you got some Hebrews that done turned the wilderness into a rapture teaching. Everybody ain't going to get there. Some of us going to die. Some of us got to stay out here and preach the word and be killed. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Like that's why Mashiach say, I say these things to you so you might not be offended. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1. That's why everybody ain't fit to preach the word, because everybody ain't got that type of heart. Oh, I already know that. I've been mentally prepared for that for years. Been ready for that. I anticipate it. I welcome it, quite honestly.
Where does wilderness come from? What you know about?
Oh, I ain't got no time to go through that now, dog. That's all. We read that last night.
Basically, like in Ezekiel, he said he's gonna gather us in the wilderness and clean us first.
Yeah, we read that in Isaiah 16 last night. And that's in Revelation chapter 12.
It's a teaching that people say that you know swear.
That's why I said I thought it wasn't no wilderness.
No, there is a wilderness where those are going to be hid, not the wilderness like I'm finna, hey, y'all don't sin. Man say the people be in the wilderness for 3.5 years. Well, that's what we read in Isaiah last night. Didn't he say, Moab, hide my outcast? That's why I asked y'all where the land of Moab was. Land of Moab right by the land. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, right? Verse 3. Now, we looking at this here, right, as forth as the nations. It's also can be for a person. Because one thing for certain, two things for sure. He told you in Chronicles, don't do what? Don't touch my anointed, right? One thing about it, boy, if you put your hands or your mouth on somebody who belong to Yah, he coming to see you. And I done used this analogy before. Let somebody put their hands on one of y'all children. What you gonna do? Let somebody say something negative about your children. What you gonna do? Well, that's how Yah feel about his. Put your mouth on one. You done seen Yah come for people who put their mouth on his people. You done seen what y'all done had to do by somebody coming to put their hands on his people. That's why you supposed to be willing to ride for him in every situation and circumstance, because he riding for you. You ain't willing to ride for him. You just a coward. You ain't fit for the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? Straight up and down. Nigga can't disrespect y'all in my presence. You know what I'm saying? One thing I know, boy. Well, keep your mouth off Yah's people. Keep your hands off Yah's people. And we already know, just because you know you're an Israelite and you keep them Sabbath, so don't make you a son of Elohim, because he protect his children. That's my point. Hello, Leah. How are you? Are you okay? 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 3. We are bound to thank Elohim always for you, brethren, as it is meet, because your faith grow exceedingly, and the charity of every one of you towards all each other abound. So we ourselves esteeming you in the houses of Elohim for your patience and faith in all your persecutions and tribulations which you endure, which is a manifest token of the righteous judgment of Elohim, that you be counted worthy of the kingdom of Elohim, for which ye also suffer. So if you have to take on persecutions or tribulations for the word, this man says that this is an open evidence that you are worthy of the kingdom. Seeing is a righteous thing with Elohim to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. And to you who are troubled, rest with us, when the Master Yahushua shall be revealed from Shamahim with his mighty Malakim, in flaming fire, taking vengeance on them that know not Elohim, and that obey not the Basar of our Master Yahushua HaMashiach, who shall be punished with everlasting destruction from the presence of the Master, and from the esteem of his power. And when he shall become to be esteemed in his Kased, and to be admired in all them that believe, because our testimony among you was believed in that day. Wherefore we also pray always for you, that our Elohim would count you worthy of this calling, and fulfill all the good pleasure of his goodness, and the work of faith with power. That man say it is his good pleasure to kill anyone who tries you or troubles you in any shape, form, or fashion. Now, you know, we go all through that word for that. Didn't he do that to Pharaoh? What about Jael, the woman who the lady came through there and put that nail in his temple? What was Buddy out there doing? Wasn't he troubling us? So you have to sit back and look at that. That's why he tell you to love your enemies, and if you turn the other cheek, because vengeance is of Yahuah, and he shall, matter of fact, come over to Hebrew chapter 10. Because he going to pay it back. He said their foot going to slide in due time. And in another place, y'all tell you in the book of Proverbs that if your enemy stumble, you know what he told you not to do? Any of y'all know what he told you not to do if your enemy stumble? Yeah, don't rejoice. You know what she just said. You know what he said he'll do if you do that? Take his hand off of him. and not finish the job.
He said she food.
No, that's a different verse. Say if you're in any hunger, feed him. If he thirsty, give him drink. In doing so, you heap of coals of fire on his head. And you know what that is? Long suffering and mercy. Go on, show him some love. Guess what? Because that's what that woman who I mentioned in the book of Judges in about the 4th chapter, maybe the 5th.
Saul and David did that.
No, like baby did that to the T. Like she went in cuz tent, he asked for water, she gave him milk. And when he was feeling all nice and rested, she took a nail and drove it through his temple. Jael is her name. That's why she got an everlasting remembrance. Hebrews 10 and 30. For we know him that have said, vengeance belong to me, I will recompense, saith Yahuah. And again, Yahuah shall judge his people. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living Elohim. It's a very, get off that plug, boy. I see you. But call to remembrance the former days in which after you were illuminated, you endured a great fight of afflictions. Partly while you were made a gazing stock, both by reproaches and afflictions, and partly while you became companions of them that were so used. Do you see what he just said? He said that you need to recall in the day when the word came and brought light to your eyes, that you remember how you went through these afflictions, but also how you became a companion of those who suffer the same. See, a lot of people don't even look at that in that aspect. That goes back again to that Psalms 119, that I'm a companion of those who fear thee. And I also go to tell you what I be telling you before too, boy. Y'all put people together for a reason. You know what I'm saying? He joined people together for a reason, and it's for his esteem first and foremost. We don't ever really look at it how he moved pieces along the board. Some people get moved along the board to damn themselves. Some people get moved along the board to save themselves. Some people get moved along the board to form a cohesive unit that they may strengthen themselves, that all might be saved. But everything at the end of the day is going to resort back to his name being esteemed and honored through the mouth of all men, whether by choice or by force. Come on back to number 32. And praise y'all for it. Can you read? You can? You a big girl? How old are you? How old are you going to be on your birthday? All right. You have a best friend? You told me. 32 and 6. Numbers, excuse me. I got too much. I ain't going to get to everything I got today. I got more days, though. And Moses said unto the children of Gad and to the children of Reuben, shall your brethren go to war, and shall you sit here? Wherefore now this is going to, because the tribe of Gad was saying, we don't want to go over Jordan. We want to stay here and inherit this land right here. But there was war to fight on the other side of that water. Listen what he said. Wherefore discourage you the heart of the children of Yashar'al, which have gone over into the land which Yahuah have given them. Thus did your fathers when I sent them to Kadesh Barnea to see the land. Or for they went up to the valley of Eshal and saw the land, and discouraged the heart of the children of Yashar'al, that they should not go into the land which Yahuah had given them. Do y'all know what story he's referring to? The valley of Eshal. Y'all know what story that is? I need to make sure y'all know what he's talking about. Who don't know what the valley of Eshal is? You don't know what it is? Okay. Numbers chapter 13. You'll probably know what it is once we read it. You read along nursery rhymes? Are you a nursery rhyme? Are you Leah? Are you Stanks? Are you Stanky Pot? You my Stanky Pot. 13 and 19 of the book of Numbers. We'll make it 17. Now, on your own time, you can read from verses 1 to 16 and to tell you who the spies were by name who went through. And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan and said unto them, get you up this way southward and go up into the mountain and see the land what it is, and the people that dwell therein, whether they be strong or weak, few or many. and what the land is that they dwell in, and whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that they dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds. And what the land is, whether it be fat or lean, or whether there be wood therein or not, be ye of good courage, and bring the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. Now we went over this before, but it's been a minute. When he tell you they go in that land and them first ripe grapes, what is that telling us about? You know that's telling us about in gathering. He said it's the time for you to gather the first ripe grapes. You got two levels of grapes. You could go read Micah 7. He said, I want to gather up that summer fruit, that ripe summer fruit. Well, of course, in gathering, it's wintertime now. Don't matter how warm it feel outside. When trumpets hit, it's wintertime because we ain't got but two seasons, summer and winter. Ain't no fall, ain't no spring, ain't no none of that. Summer and winter. Genesis 8:22. Summer and winter. So that's the first, that with Pentecost. But if he said it's the time of the first ripe grapes, he either referring to Pentecost or tabernacles. Because either way it go, if tabernacles is coming in 15 days in the beginning of winter, then what other type of fruit you going to be bringing in other than summer fruit? You know what I'm saying? That's all you have with them. He says, so they went up and searched the land from the wilderness of Zin. So they searched the land from Sin under Rahab as men come to Hamath. And they ascended up by the south and came to Hebron. Anybody know why Hebron is important? That's where David dwelt before Jerusalem. And where Athaman and Shishai and Talamai, the children of Anak, were. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan and Mizraim. And they came down into the brook of Eshal, and they cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes. Listen what it say. And they bare it upon, between two upon a staff, and they brought up the pomegranates and the figs. So if they put it on the staff, and then it said it was between two, and you seen the fruit on the staff, it's just pointing you to Mashiach's crucifixion. The place was called the brook of Eshal because the cluster of grapes, when the children of Yashar'al cut down from thence, and they returned from searching the land 40 days. And they went and came to Moses and to Aaron and all the congregation of the children of Yashar'al to the wilderness of Paran, to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them and to all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told them, we came unto the land whither thou sent us, surely it flow with milk and honey. This is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, the people strong that dwelled in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak and the Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites. Basically, they said we couldn't do it. They were scared, right? So this is what Numbers 32, this is why he's referring back to that with them in Numbers. You understand? So what do we see with this here, right? We see three things right here. And let's look at these three things we're going to see. Let's take ourselves to second, well, really two things. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 4. Hey, Malia, get your life in order. Get your life in order. 1 and 4. Make it 3. I thank Elohim whom I serve from my forefathers with a pure conscience, that without ceasing I have remembrance of thee in my prayers night and day, greatly desiring to see thee, being mindful of thy tears, that I may be filled with thy joy. With joy, When I call to remembrance the unfeigned faith that is in thee, which dwelt first in thy grandmother Lois and thy mother Eunice, I'm persuaded that in thee also. Now, you know, that was what, about 2 years ago? When we looked at every woman that we could find in this word. Because I just want to reiterate that just because I read this here. I don't want y'all women to think that y'all don't have no factor or the word don't deal with no women, because that's not the case. I know a lot of brews do that, though. You know what I'm saying? That's not the case. Y'all, you may not use the women for preaching, but he used women for a lot of things, for the furtherance of the gospel in many different ways. And then some of the things that y'all mentioned about being patient or having long suffering and being kind and merciful and all that there, that go a long way. Because a lot of women who recognize in this New Testament were recognized for refreshing the saints. You know what I'm saying? The reason why you know about the lady, the Shumanite and Kings, is because of the mercy she showed to Elisha.
Come out of there. Come here.
Abigail, get your butt over here. Stop being rebellious. You ain't his mama. I'm going to point your finger at him. Verse 6. Wherefore I put thee in remembrance that thou stir up the gift of Elohim which is in thee
Come out of there.
by the putting on of my hands. For Elohim hath not given us the ruach of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Be not therefore ashamed of the testimony of our master, nor of me his prisoner. Be thou partaker of the afflictions of the gospel, according to the power of Elohim. Those men in Numbers were fearful. And when you fearful, guess what that means? You don't trust Yah. You ain't got no hope in him. You don't trust him. That's why they say, oh, we can't take it. And spoke evil of the land, which means they spoke evil of Yahuah. Which means they spoke evil of his promise. Revelation chapter 21. Do you know how to write? Can you write me a letter? Write me the letter A. Very good, Stanks. Can you write me the letter B? Exceptional. Can you write me the letter C? That's very good, Leah. Revelation 21:7. Make it 21:5. And he that sat upon the throne, behold, I make all things new. He said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful. He said unto me, it is done. I'm the Aleph and the Tau, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of water of life freely. He that overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his Elohim, and he shall be my son. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake of fire, which burn with fire and brimstone. This is the second death. See, if you don't believe in Yah or you fearful, you're going to hell. Let's see what the law back that up. Numbers 32 again. Let's see what he said he did to those men that we just looked at and checked at in Esau, that he was threatening them with in Numbers 32 about their fearfulness and unbelief. Let's look at what he said here. We stopped at verse 9. Because the reason why he mentioned this here is, right, those who were fearful and unbelieving, guess what he said it did? It discouraged the hearts of the other people. See, when you got an old fearful, unbelieving nigga, that can be discouraging to the whole body, and y'all gonna want to get rid of you. That's why I was sitting back telling y'all that last night, and I'm going to reiterate it over and over again. We cannot move as individuals. You have to move as a cohesive unit. Because when you're moving as individuals, as they did in Numbers, it can discourage the hearts of the people. And y'all going to get rid of you. Listen what he said in verse 10. And Yahuwah's anger was kindled the same time, and he swears, saying, surely none of the men that came up out of Mizraim from 20 years old and upward shall see the land which I swear unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob, because they have not wholly followed me. You see what that happened with? So you see, they didn't get cast out for not keeping no laws, did they? That ain't had nothing to do with no Sabbaths, did it? That had to do with their fear and their unbelief, and how that fear and unbelief can permeate. That's why the law say, get that what? Evil from amongst you. That's why he said, don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. What fellowship has light with darkness and Hamashiach with Belial? What agreement does the temple of Elohim have with idols? What agreement does he that believe with an infidel? Because he know what's going to happen. It's going to discourage people's hearts. He say, save Caleb the son of Jephnah the Kenizzite and Yahushua the son of Nun, for they have wholly followed Yahuwah. And Yahuwah's anger was kindled against Yashar'al. He made them wander in the wilderness 40 years until all the generations that had done evil in the sight of Yah was consumed. Now, you know why I'm mentioning that part? Because he will let you walk around still serving him till he ready to kill you. He didn't take them out right on the head. He could have killed all of them right on the spot and took them in the land. He let them walk around feeling like they were straight. Oh, well, shoot, we've been living for 5 years. I guess he ain't going to kill us. We've been living for 10 years. I guess he ain't going to kill us. Till 40 years came up and they were all dead. He said, behold, you are risen up in your father's steed in an increase of sinful men to augment yet the fierce anger of Yahuah. For if you turn away after him, he will yet again leave them in the wilderness, and you shall destroy all this people. And they came, listen what he said, and we came near unto him and said, we build sheepfolds for our cattle and cities for our little ones. When we look at sheepfold, it's Gadara, Gamal, Dalit, Rosh, and Hay. So you know what we look at? We begin to behold the walking of the chief through the door. You understand? Now let's go over here to John chapter 10, because that takes us back to what I was telling you, that what's a sheepfold for? It's for cattle. It's for rest, because he said this land is for cattle, and our servants have cattle. When he look at his servants having cattle, that's looking at the preachers, the apostles, the pastors, the teachers. All of them got cattle or flocks. What did Peter tell you to do? Shepherds do what? Feed the flock. So they got a place where they can bring their flock to lie down. Which takes us back to what we were talking about last night. You can't come up some other way. You got to go through Yahushua. Ain't that right, Pot? That's right. John 10:1. Truly, truly, I say unto you, he that enter not by the door into the sheepfold. So guess what? If you don't want to enter into the, Stephen saying the man with raised arms, footsteps, because Gamal is a foot, right? So we can look at, you don't want to walk in the man with raised arms footsteps, so his thoughts can cause you to enter into the door. You got a problem, right? You got a problem. He say, but climb up some other way, the same as a thief and a robber. But he that enter in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter open, and the sheep hear his voice. And he call his own sheep by name and lead them out. And when he put forth his own sheep, he go before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. I remember I used to tell this girl I knew a long time ago, right? You know, in this same chapter, verse 25, let's look at it. Let's just look at it. John 10:22. I'm finna get ready to wrap this up, though. Y'all willing, we'll just continue it on tomorrow. He said, it was Jerusalem, the feast of dedication, and it was winter. Yahushua walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. Then came the Yahudim round about and said unto him, how long dost thou make us to doubt? If thou be the Hamashiach, tell us plainly. Yahushua answered and I told you, and you believe not. The works that I do in my Abba's name, they bear witness of me. But you believe not, because you're not of my sheep, as I said unto you. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. You see where that Gamal come in at? Now, the reason why I mention this here, right, because I got to say it, because if I don't say it, I'll be lying. Boy, everybody in here ain't his sheep, and everybody in here don't follow him, and everybody in here don't know his voice. Right or wrong? That go back to what I was talking about earlier, too, about discernment. Because if you got discernment, you know who belong to Yah, who don't. We all know what everybody who knowing they in Hebrew in these days and times, boy, these niggas make their mouth fry fish. You know what I'm talking about? But boy, I know everybody don't belong to this man. And I can tell by how niggas move. You know what I'm saying? The things that they do. Because he say, with your mouth you show much love, but your heart go after your covetousness. You know what I'm talking about? Boy, but when it come down to the come down, boy, everybody don't follow this man. Everybody don't trust this man. Everybody don't hope in this man. All them people who went in the land to scout out the valley of Eshau, how many people did he name? 2. He said only 2 people wholly followed after me. That they'll make you consider your whole life. You understand what I'm telling you? That make you look at stuff different. That make you look at stuff. Brother, it had to be about at least 1 million people. How many people did he send? Maybe a good 20. Let's go back to Numbers 13, see how many people he sent.
He sent like 2 people
From each tribe. I was, and that's what I feel. I didn't want to make sure. We want to make sure we accurate. Because I believe you correct, sir. I definitely believe you're correct. Matter of fact, I know you're correct.
And I think that when he was sending out the disciples 2 by 2, he 70 people.
No, he only sent one. One person a tribe. Just one.
Whatever the head of the house, something like that.
Yep, that's correct. They were the heads of the children of Yashar'al. He sent out Shammua from Reuben, Shaphat from Simeon, Caleb from Judah, Egal from Issachar, Yahushua son of Nun from Ephraim, Paltai from from Benjamin, I should say, Gadiel from Zebulun,
That's 12 apostles. I mean 12,
yeah, Gadiel of Joseph. That's exactly what you got. Because they're going to be the head, because they're going to be at every gate. We don't know that. It's been a minute. Amiel of Dan, Sethar of Asher, Nahabi of Naphtali, Gayul of Gad. And those are the men he sent. So out of 12 men, only 2 was down. Out of 12 men, only 2 were down. And you know who those 2 men can point to with the apostles? John and Peter. Because Yahushua would be Peter, because upon this rock, I'm going to build my house. And then Caleb would be John, because that's the one he loved, because he showed Caleb a lot of love. But he built the house on Joshua. Come on back to number 32, man. What you doing?
When he sent 2 people to stop him,
The 2 people that he sent by twos is, if my memory serves me correctly, King Josiah. He sent men out by twos to go teach the law in the land. Verse at 17, Numbers 32. He said, but we ourselves will go ready armed before the children of Yashar'al until we have brought them unto their place. Our little ones shall dwell in the fenced cities because of the inhabitants of the land. We will not return unto our houses until the children of Yashar'al have inherited every man his inheritance. So what these men just stated after Moses said what he said, he would let it be known, oh, we ain't scared. We gonna leave our children here because it's cool. And we not gonna come back to this place until all of our people had inherited the land. And we'll end that with Epistle Jude and pick this up, you who are willing, on tomorrow. We'll just continue on with it. It's a long chapter. See, I want to get that in 2 weeks and then work myself to something else I got. I'm forgetting because I'm at my time. I'm already over an hour. The Epistle of Jude. We'll pick it up at verse 8. Because that's going to tie into what we just were looking at. And what we just talked about a couple weeks ago. Likewise, the Epistle of Jude, verse 8. Likewise, also these filthy dreamers defile the flesh. They despise dominion and speak evil of dignities. So you have people who he's referring to that they defile themselves with sin, they hate authority, and they speak evil of those who are dignified or worthy of honor and respect. Yet Michael, the Archmalachine, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses, durst not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, Yahuah rebuked thee. But these speak evil of those things which they know not. But what they naturally as brute beasts in those things, they corrupt themselves. Woe unto them, for they have gone in the way of Cain, and ran greedily after the error of Balaam for reward, and perished in the gainsaying of Korah. These are spotting your feasts of charity. When they feast with you, feeding themselves without fear, clouds they are without water, carried about of winds, trees whose fruit wither, without fruit, twice dead, plucked up by the roots. And that's what you were seeing with this fourth of what we were looking at in Numbers. On the flip side, Numbers 13, not Numbers 32. Raging waves of sea, foaming out of their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, Yahuah come with 10,000 of his chesed, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. So how are we going to parallel to that when there is Y'all know in Romans chapter 2, right? It said those that without the law do what? So when we look at those people who he came to slaughter or smote in front of us so we could inherit the law, are these same ungodly sinners with their ungodly speeches and these things that they've committed. And he got to smite them down and so that we can inherit that land and then dwell with him. But hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. We start right there, most high willing. We'll pick it up tomorrow. Those on the stream, appreciate y'all. Bless y'all at the house of y'all. Yahuah willing, 7 o'clock tomorrow again. And we'll pick it up again. We're going to be at